To understand the cure for heart attack and stroke, you need to understand the function of oxygen. We all know we need oxygen, but what is the function of oxygen? How does it keep us alive? We need oxygen for respiration, but let's dive in and discover the exact function of oxygen in respiration. Respiration is a process in which food molecules are broken down to produce ATP, which is the energy currency of the cells. Without ATP, cells cannot function. Now let's look at the role of oxygen in ATP synthesis. Oxidative phosphorylation is a process which is like a power generator in our cells. During this process, electrons move through a chain of proteins called the electron transport chain. At the end of this chain, the electrons combine with oxygen. When they meet oxygen, it helps combine them with protons, forming water. The only function of oxygen in the body is to accept electrons. Without oxygen, the body cannot get rid of electrons, and this stops ATP synthesis. When the ATP synthesis has stopped, the body starts to run out of energy. Just like a machine stops working when you turn the switch off, everything in the body stops working gradually because there is no ATP. This is when the person starts to die. No oxygen means no acceptance of electrons, so the electron transport chain stops working, which means there is no ATP synthesis. Now let's see what happens when there is a heart attack or a stroke. A part of your heart or brain stops receiving blood supply. Blood carries oxygen. Without oxygen, the cardiac and the nerve cells start to die. But if you can somehow replace the function of oxygen, you can prevent death. I'm not talking about giving extra oxygen because the body might already have enough oxygen, but it's not reaching the cells as the blood supply is compromised. So even if you give extra oxygen, it won't prevent the heart attack. The cure for heart attack is to accept the electrons produced during ATP synthesis. If you can somehow accept electrons, the body doesn't need oxygen to survive. It's like doing oxygen's job when the blood supply is compromised. And here's the answer: grounding. Ground is a natural acceptor of electrons. Imagine this: a person has a heart attack or a stroke. The blood supply is blocked and oxygen is not reaching the cells. If the person is grounded, standing barefoot on the earth will accept the electrons at the speed of light. When the electrons are accepted by the earth, the electron transport chain will continue to work, which means there is ATP synthesis and the cells can function the normal way. A person can have all the blood supply blocked and they won't die if they're grounded. Earth acts as an alternative to oxygen. So if you see a person having a heart attack or a stroke, the first thing you should do is to connect them with the earth. And I'm not talking about going barefoot indoors because the wooden floor disconnects us from the earth, as well as the plastic and rubber shoes that we wear. Nature uses the same method to discharge its electrons when there is lightning. The charges separate in the clouds and excess electrons in the clouds flow to the earth, and this is how we have thunder. The earth accepts the electrons from the clouds. Nature has given us oxygen to accept our electrons because we might not be able to ground ourselves all the time. So the air has oxygen which goes inside our lungs and takes the electrons. But in cases like heart attacks and stroke, when the blood supply is blocked for any reason, the best way to prevent death is to ground yourself. And you should take this information seriously because the cells in the heart and brain do not regenerate once they are damaged. So save yourself and your loved ones before the damage is done. Learn the basic signs of a heart attack and stroke, and if you see someone having these symptoms, save their life and ground them. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and share it with your friends.